Business partners, some people swear by them, some people hate them. I'm going to give you my thoughts as someone who's built and currently is running 4 companies. We have business partners in each one of those businesses, and I'll talk about the types of business partners and how to get them and the mistakes and challenges. So currently for our company, we own 2 agencies, 1 real estate business, and 1 e-com business. For the 2 agencies, for one of them, we have a 50-50 split. For another one, we have an 80-20 split. For the real estate, we have 25% for each one of the partners. And for the e-com, we have 30, 30, 30. Like 30, basically 1/3 for each one of the partners. Now, I'll start off with our email agency. That's where we have the 50-50 split. It worked out well for us, but it doesn't work out well for everybody. And I'll get into this a little bit later. I'll leave an asterisk to it here. The other agency we own, which is a paid ads agency, we own 20%, while the original founder owns 80%. That's a different type of a business where we're a minority partner. I'll explain the decision there. We have the real estate business and we have the e-commerce business. Now, this is a great split of varying equities, and I'll dive into why we decided to make those. This one I'll touch upon at the end. I'll start with the 80-20 agency split. So I have a buddy of mine who was doing media buying. He was very great at it, but he wanted to start his own agency. At first, we started off with no equity. We just referred him clients and helped him build his base up. He did extremely great. He scaled a bunch of our clients. Like one of our clients, he took out of 2 years of losing money to doing 100K days and doing 10K a day profit. Some days do 10K, some days 20K, depends. And by the way, that's net profit after all expenses, after all team costs, after everything, which is great. Here we decided to go with an 80-20 split because me and my main business partner, Jacob, we were working as advisors. We could have gone for a 70-30 split, but we essentially wanted to go for a minority split so we don't have to put that much time and that much effort into it. Essentially, we're the people who kind of helped the business get off the ground, but we didn't want to do the day-to-day work, no managerial work, more of advisory. In this case, the main partner still does the majority of the work. They're responsible for the most of it. However, we do reap the benefits of the referrals we send, of the systems we have implemented, and of the people we have hired. That's why this split here worked very well for us, and that's why we decided to go for this split. The real estate is 25% split for each one of the partners. So it's me, Jacob, my email agency business partner, and 2 guys in real estate. Here, this could have gone a different route too. We could have gone 60-40, but we decided to do a 25% split between each of the partners, where me and my business partner, Jacob, we would provide the capital, and the 2 real estate guys would find different properties, manage them, sell them, do all of that stuff. Again, in this case, we split it between 4 people. We could have gotten the majority. Looking back at it, we probably should have, because if we provide the capital, we have more risk and more downside than they do. But we split it in a way where each one of us knows responsibilities, and for us, we get our full money back on what we invested, plus 25% of the profits each. Each one of us does different kind of work, adds different kind of value to the business. That's why it worked well. The e-commerce is 30% each. Again, same thing. Here we have 3 partners. Each one of us has a different responsibility. We add a lot of value to each one of the areas of the business, and we kind of categorize the e-commerce side between marketing, paid ads, finances, and then admin/strategy. So one of the partners takes care of the strategy side, which kind of plugs into the marketing and finances side. One of us focuses on finances, make sure everything's running correctly. I've had a lot of experience with that in terms of connections I have, so I'm taking a part of it. Administrative is just mainly making sure the business doesn't go into shit. We have all the right partners and the right companies, agencies, whatever we need in order to scale. And marketing, fairly straightforward. The guy that runs the agency too over here also runs the marketing here. He has the most experience. We trust him with that. So we kind of divided the business into chunks. Each one of us gets responsibility for those chunks, and together we can make something bigger. Now, I'll dive into the main agency with 50-50 split later. The reason why you want to get business partners is fairly straightforward. They add value to the business. There's no other reason you would get a business partner besides adding value. That could be in terms of capital, like we did with the real estate business, knowledge, like we did with one of the agencies, and also knowledge/money with ecom. Fairly straightforward. Now, some people might want to run companies by themselves, which is completely fine. And later they might give equity to the employees, which is fine too. And that's a little bit of a different route to go about equity, which we've done as well ourselves with one of our businesses over here. I'll dive into that in just a little bit later. Now, how do you find business partners? It's kind of like getting into a relationship. You don't want to just go out there and just go for a business partner. You want to find someone who has who has a different skill set or can add value to the business in a different way. One of the ways could be, for example, capital. If you're very good at real estate, like when one of our companies, our partners are, we add the capital and they can go around, move the money, make the money back to us. If it's e-commerce, we each add experience and knowledge in different areas. We have varying skill sets and varying interests. There's some things I don't want to touch in the e-com business. There's some things our business partners don't want to touch. We kind of split it up in a way where the responsibilities are given out quite fairly. And we believe this by us creating one business that has 30-30, one-third for each one of the partners, instead of one partner owning it all. This is how we could go farthest and quickest realistically. Now, when it comes to how finding the partner, I can't tell you. You really need to get out there, get some experience yourself. You might be working a 9 to 5, maybe like working at the marketing agency. You know some other people who work there who are great. You probably could partner up and build an agency. If one of you knows Google ads, you know Facebook ads, or one of you knows ads and you know sales, you can partner up and work together. That would be one way to form a great partnership. Again, one of the biggest things you have to focus on is making sure your values align. Like, think of finding the right business partner as getting married to someone. You want to make sure your values align, you're on the same boat. You don't want to be someone who's very anti-scam and partner with someone who's super scammy. It could get very messy. The important part, though, is you do need to be different. You just don't want to be too different. Your values should align, your end goal should align. Personalities can be vastly different too, and I think that's great. In the case of our agency, I'm very extroverted. I like to make content. I like to write and stuff like that. And Jacob, my business partner, he's more introverted. He likes to talk with it. He likes to focus on team, build systems, and that's why we work great. Some of the mistakes is, number one, like getting in too early with the partner and not doing the background checks. We had a client that scaled the business from 0 to 600K a month, and it all crashed down because they had two partners, and partner A didn't know much about partner B, and it turned out partner B was sued for fraud with another one of his business partners. He liked to get into the businesses, scale them up, take out all the money off the bank, and just run off. That happened to him as well, and he ended up holding the bag and getting messed up. So you really want to do a background check. You want to make sure you vibe with the person and know them for a decent amount of time. You don't want to go into business with someone who you know for like 3 days. You want to make sure they have a great track record. It's like getting into a relationship. You're not going to get married with someone you just met yesterday. Some people do, but I would say it's not a great way. You want to know the person, learn who they are, see their true colors, go through some challenges before you go into business with them. Number 2 is 50-50 equity split. This is the asterisk I wanted to get back to. For our agency, it worked well. It worked quite well. But generally speaking, if there's any kind of major change later down the line you want to make, if you have a 50-50 equity split, you both have even say into the direction you go. So you just kind of go into stalemate and a standstill. unless your business partner is smart and they're not completely stubborn, you can burn your business to the ground. It would make sense for someone to be 51 or 60% and the other one be a little bit lower. That could be if you, for example, are building an agency, hypothetically, where you know you have great connections, you have a couple of clients you could get, but the other person, they know Facebook ads, but without you, they wouldn't be anything. I would say in that case, you can take, for example, 51 or 60% and partner with them on the back end. Yeah. Number 3, this kind of goes a little bit against what I said here, but you need to make sure that you're both going to be in a position where you don't move forward unless you agree. You don't want to build tension between your partners by like having two completely varying ideas and values and business directions you want to go. You want to make sure you're aligned and you can always come to that person, discuss things out, and come to a logical, rational decision, and not have one of the partners get upset if someone gives maybe a valid criticism, so on and so forth. So this kind of ties in together with all the previous points I made. The challenges of having business partners is thinking also of times when things don't go as well. What happens if one of the business partners wants to get out of the business? What happens in cases where one of the business partners is not putting in all the work? These should be all things you discuss with your potential business partner before you get into a venture together. And I would say a lot of the communication done beforehand and the right expectations beforehand is what makes a great partnership work. Now, for our agency where we had the 50-50 split between me and my business partner, we did a lot of, we understood this and we would move forward unless us both agree on a certain decision. We had varying skill sets. And generally speaking, when it came to discussion, we wouldn't be stubborn on our own ideas. If the other party could present a better explanation to go down a different route, we can give in. Obviously, you want to give your ideas out, but that's kind of where we've gotten to. So, do you always need business partners? No. Is it great to have them? Yes. One last thing I wanted to mention is your business partners could also be your employees. If you are a single business owner and you find someone who can be a great COO, feel free to take them in on a business and give them some equity. It's actually what we did with our main email agency. We gave equity to our current head of service and our current head of sales, so they would have, a piece of the pie, so they could grow it bigger. They would have a better incentive. And this has been something that's worked fairly well because people who own something are going to work harder than those who do not. So there's varying ways to get into business partnerships and make sure you follow these principles before you get into your first one.